Hello, YouTube family. Welcome. Today is the finale of. Yes, excited for the last day. Y'all are ready. Okay. Let me do the intro. Let me. All right, I'm so excited, guys. Today is the grand finale. As you know, yesterday we had our conversation with friends, and today I have a special guest, someone who is near and dear to my heart, but also who just I just love having conversations and learning more from him. So you guys will get to meet him in a minute. Today's topic is family, relationships, and legacy. I'm gonna bring him up so he can introduce himself. So can we get a little drum roll in the chat? Can y'all throw some drum roll emojis? I'm so glad that you guys are here. You're excited. Look, my sister excited for the last day, KEISHUARY. So am I. All right, we're gonna bring him on up. We're just gonna bring him on up. Let's do it. Hey Kevin,
Hello.
how are you? Welcome.
Thanks for having me. What's going
Yes,
on?
thanks for being here. You want to tell the people a little bit about you?
All right, so I'm Kevin. I'm 30 years old. I have a background in criminal justice. I hold a trucking license, and I have an associate's in business. Just a black
Yeah.
man trying to make it in America.
Listen, Black History Month, black men. We love black men, right? Kevin is being humble right now, y'all. He loves music. He is a musician. He
Yeah.
writes, he sings, he does all things music. So if you see the music in the thumbnail, I did that because he loves music. Okay. Speaking of music, before we start, let's just get a little icebreaker. Tell the people the song that would describe your mood right now.
My mood right now. Um, Larry June. I don't know if you heard of Larry June, but he's a
Lyric?
rapper. Yeah, out of Detroit.
Okay.
And he has a song called "Comfortable." So that would describe my mood right now.
Okay. All right. And if you could pick one song, I guess I should answer two. A song to describe my mood right now. It might be corny, but I would say happy from Pharrell because I'm
Oh,
happy.
oh,
That's what
yeah,
we
that's
got
a good
right
one.
now.
That's a good
What's one song that you could sing word for word, nonstop lyrics? You know it.
one. So many. Um, I would
First,
say Joe. I want to know. Then you got Jodeci, "Cry for You." So many. I love music, R&B.
love that. Maybe we could get him to sing on here, y'all. Maybe we could get him to sing one day. Okay, one thing at a time, one step at a time. Song for me that I know heart to heart, probably Lauren Hill. Anything Lauren Hill, that album she had, I could run it down, I could run it back, I could
Yeah,
sing it.
Lauren is a
Yeah,
legend.
yeah. So I think that that would be my go to. Besides gospel music, I feel like certain gospel songs, it's like, all right, I'm going to sing this. I'm going to run through it. So today's topic is about legacy, purpose, family, and relationships. Right? Oh Lord, relationships. What does legacy mean to you, and how do we start being intentional about what we leave behind?
Okay, well, to me personally, legacy is like the lasting impact that we have on the world. And not just through material wealth, but through our values, our faith, and the impact that we leave on people.
Yeah, that's good. I know that most of the stuff I talk about on these lives are based on scripture. And the
Hmm.
scripture I gave you for this topic was Proverbs 13, verse 22. Can you
My phone.
people read it for us so y'all can get a better understanding what does God say about the future and what we should do? So
All
that's
right, so the scripture says, "A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the righteous."
can you give us the Kevin translation, the Keisha translation, the message version of that verse? What does that mean to someone who's hearing that verse? Maybe for the first time and doesn't really understand what God is trying to say.
A good name, I feel like, is better than riches or gold,
Mm,
and to leave a true legacy, it's not about the material things or the money that you leave behind, I would say. I would say it's about the character traits that you instill in your children.
Yeah, that's so good. I feel like even when you think about that, I think about my dad, like his legacy. Like, although there's a wealth of things he's given us, the most important thing he's given us is how we treat people, how he carries himself, how he was always reading and willing to learn, right?
Yeah,
Even at this age now, he always has a book on in his hand. So I love that. I love what you just said about what you leave behind is beyond money. It's not just money. It's not just a material thing that the kids um, will have, right? They're gonna we could squander those things, but I feel like you said, the
absolutely.
character thing is definitely a thing. How do we start building a faith based legacy in our families? We know there's other legacies that people can build, but how do we build faith based legacies in our families, in our friendships, in our communities? What do you feel like? How can we start doing that?
I think you can't be ashamed of the gospel. You can't be ashamed of your faith.
Mm,
And then that will attract like-minded individuals, and we grow from faith to faith. So once you stand and you're solid in who you are and what you believe in, then you'll instill it in your children. I think there's a scripture that says charity begins at home.
mm,
So you living out the example, and then we aren't robots, we're humans. So, but you instill the foundation of who God is in your
yeah,
belief system, and then it'll just flourish.
I love that. I love that. How do you feel like something that you have that you have and you know, this is from my legacy, this is not from my legacy but the legacy that was passed on to me, and I'm going to take that with me going forward?
What you mean, have a character trait or
Yeah, it could be a character trait, anything you feel like that was passed, like a something that's passed on that you'll take with you to the next generation.
so my pops, well, my father, he has a way of making everybody feel at home. Whenever
Mm,
whoever it is, it could be a stranger on the street, it could be someone he met at church, or someone he helped change their tire. He just has a loving spirit and an inviting spirit. So I think that's something I've got from him. I would say
yeah,
something
yeah,
that's in
I
the past.
agree with that. I agree with that. All right, let's be talking about family. Let's get into what are some of the biggest challenges in Black families specifically. Like, what are they facing when it comes to legacy and unity? We know what God says, but what's really happening in these streets?
Yeah, so much, man. I think financial literacy is an issue within our culture, and then all of the disadvantages that we already have with the economy and racism. Um, can you ask the question one more time? I forgot
Yeah,
the second half.
all right, it's okay, y'all. What are some of the biggest challenges Black families face today when it comes to legacy and unity? Is there unity, or are we divided? You know what I mean? Are we
Yeah,
passing down things? Are we healing from things so that we're not passing down trauma? Are we passing down trauma? Are we not talking about trauma? You know what I mean? Like, what are some of
so
the
I would say internally and externally, there's so much that the Black culture deals with, and it's tough to keep it all together, to hold it all together. I think everyone has family issues, but I would say the biggest problem is acknowledging the issues. A lot of times growing up, I realized that there are elephants in the room, or there's things that needs to be said, or there's a lot of inward turmoil, and no one wants to speak about it. It's like
yeah,
an elephant, I would say. So I would say acknowledge it, have those tough conversations, and then be willing to forgive.
that part? And then even when you're talking about forgiveness, how do you feel like we can heal family wounds and break generational curses? Like, how should we go about the process? We know there's wounds. We know that there's generational curses for sure. Um, but what should we do? How can we heal? How can we move forward?
Oh, yeah, just have, I would say, have the tough conversations. It isn't easy. I think every family has some sort of turmoil that they go through. But
Yeah,
like I say, you got to acknowledge it, call it out, bring it to the light. Yeah, this bothered me. Yeah, I didn't like the way that happened. Yeah, we grew up together, and I felt like dad treated this one better. Like, acknowledge it, get it out of your heart and out of your spirit, and then be willing to forgive. And I think a lot of times it's hard. It's hard to forgive. Forgiveness is easier said than done.
Okay.
But it's a process. It's a day-to-day process. And every time it comes up, you got to be intentional about, hey, I'm not going to let this harbor in my heart. I love my sister. I love my brother. So, yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm speaking from experience.
Listen, that's the only way to speak, child. When you have experience with certain things, I feel like it's different. Like that's why I appreciate your advice because I know it's coming from like a genuine space, y'all. Make sure y'all give some clap emojis in the comments. Kevin is doing so well. I'm so glad he was able to just join me on this finale as we talk about something that honestly is going to be forever, right? Even when we're no longer here, this conversation about family and legacy and forgiveness, it should continue. It should definitely continue. This should just be the start. Um, Speaking of, let me see the next question. If you guys have comments, questions in the chat, you can put them there now. We can get to them too. What are some godly relationship principles that help sustain strong, lasting connections? Godly
Godly,
relationships, yeah, principles.
one I would say is wisdom, trust,
Yeah,
uh, discernment,
yeah,
and prayer.
that's good. Um, what would you say to somebody who struggles with prayer, like struggles with feeling like God can hear what I'm saying, or if He's hearing me, like how do I know He's answering? What would you say to somebody who's struggling with that?
I would just tell them that prayer isn't as superstitious as the normal religious church would make it to be. You don't have to pray as long as your mom. You
The
don't,
8 hour prayers.
I think it's a conversation between you and God because God knows you. He knows your heart.
Yeah,
So I talk to God just like I'm talking to you. I
yeah,
think it's a personal relationship.
yeah.
So that's what I would say to
I love
someone.
that. I love that. You feel like there's power in prayer? We this is side questions that you ain't really know I was going to ask you, but do you feel like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. It's like it feels like therapy at times. It's therapeutic
yeah,
because
yeah.
things that I don't want to share with anyone else, I can talk to God about it.
That's the go-to. That's the go-to. Okay. From your perspective as a black man, what do you think women misunderstand about men when it comes to relationships and legacy? What are we misinterpreting? Black women. From your perspective.
We love to be supported, not just materialistically, or it has nothing to do with finances, but verbally. I think women or social media may have formed this illusion or that everyone has to look a certain way or don't show your feelings or he's emotional or the culture has just given, I feel like, a black men a bad taste altogether. So
Yeah.
it's okay to support and encourage your man or whoever you're dealing with or dating with, and vice versa. It's important to nurture your woman. It's important to support your woman. I mean, women are naturally nurturers
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
soft and feminine. So I think it's important as a man to see what brings that out of her. Pay attention to your woman and you notice, okay, she like this, okay, she doesn't like that. And she's
Yeah.
naturally going to begin to nurture.
I love that.
So
I love that. How can women better support men in their lives, right? And vice versa. I think I can answer the opposite end of that. But how can women better support the men in their lives? What do men need?
so men need emotional support uh,
Yeah.
through encouragement, like I was just saying, and not just expectation. I expect you to do this. I expect you to lead. I expect you, but sometimes just encourage him. And I think even from playing sports or when you were younger, it feels good to have somebody on the sideline with your
Yeah.
name on the poster or your face on the fan, like, go, I'm here with you. You got it. You running. You building the legacy. I'm with you. Like, so yeah, I think that's what's missing.
Do you feel like we've overcomplicated that? Like we've made it more than what it is? Because to encourage someone, that's easy enough. You know what I mean? Like why is that not a thing?
I mean, I was. Do you think you guys allow space for leadership? Do you allow men to lead sometimes? I think sometimes women come into the situation with your own expectations or ideology of how much he should make or how I get your red flags and your green flags, but do you support leadership? I would say, do you allow him to show you that he's capable of leading?
Mm. I think I can't speak for all women, but I do think that there's a struggle with that in some aspects for women because of again what society is saying, right? They're saying all these things, and I think when you have a lot going on and someone tries to come in, even if you want them to, it could be difficult. So I think it's two sides. It's like,
I
okay, you
agree.
want to come in, you want to lead, but be patient with me. You
I
know what I
agree.
mean? Like, take time with me in this area because I'm not used to it. But I don't think it has to be, oh, you have expectations or you have these needs that I can't meet because you're not because I don't know, right? But taking time to get to know each other so that you can see what the expectations are and if it aligns. And
And then
maybe
a lot of times too, not to cut you off,
no,
some
you're good.
people are just burnt out, women and men. So you're bringing that trauma, you're bringing those wounds,
Yeah.
all the preconceived notions that you had or somebody else you talked to. So I get it as well, to let your guard down and be vulnerable again and say, hey, I'm going to trust another person. I'm going to
Yeah.
see, it's tough. So I get it.
Also, I feel like people forget friendship. How important do you think the foundation of friendship is in a relationship? Because people really, I mean, yes, you want to be in love, yes, you want all this stuff, but like, I think you need
Yeah,
friendship.
friendship is the foundation of a relationship to me. Like, because if you aren't my friend, you can't be my girlfriend. You can't be my lover. I have to enjoy spending time with you. We have to have things in common. We have to share some of the same likes and dislikes. Do
Mm-hmm.
you like music? What type of movies do you watch? What do you do when you're alone and by yourself? What do you do to enjoy your own company before I even
Right.
got here? I
Yeah.
think all that's important.
Do you enjoy your own company? Right, right, right. I think that is too. I feel like with social media, I feel like people are skipping steps. What do you think? Do you feel like people aren't really looking
Yeah,
for
because you
friends?
scrolling and then you compare yourself, and then you got so many different podcasts and blogs out. So you get
Lord.
information from everywhere. Like, do it like that. No, you should do it like that. No, you should look like this. No, he should look like this. No, this one said that. No, so yeah, definitely. Social media plays a big part.
Yeah.
Definitely.
How these are questions. I'm just throwing questions at me at this point because I know that his insight is really good. It's valuable. How can people better navigate friendships? How can they better navigate? Okay, yes, I would desire this, but what do I need in a friend and what do I need in a life partner? How should people slow down? How should people I think one get off social media. That's my opinion, but I would love to hear what you think for sure.
Yeah, spend some time off social media, and I would say spend some time with yourself. You got
Mm,
to know what makes you tick. You got to know what things you're working through. So when you invite people into your life, you don't hold them to a certain expectation, or you don't allow them to trigger you,
mhm.
because you know yourself, you spent time with yourself. And I think that's the most important. Like, date yourself, be your own, you are already your own best friend, whether you know it or not. Like,
Right.
the inward conversation that you have, you talk to yourself more than you do anybody else.
Yeah.
So
Facts.
you are your best friend. So you know you better than anyone else and God. So
Yeah.
it's like, spend time with yourself. And then I think that'll help the compass of what you allow and where you go to even look for friends.
Yeah, yeah. What do you feel about vulnerability? I feel like a lot of men struggle with vulnerability. Um, but I think it's needed in any relationship, right? It kind of like when somebody's vulnerable, it kind of like lets you in. You kind of trust them a little more. It allows for you to have that human experience. But what do you feel like the struggle is with men and vulnerability?
I think society has tainted the idea of vulnerability, um, and they try and demasculate black men as a whole. And I think once again, when you feed yourself that information, they gave it a bad kind of, it's like a bad stigma attached to a black man hugging his father or
Mm,
loving his nephew, and it's okay. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with being vulnerable in safe spaces, I would say as well, because everybody can't handle your vulnerability.
that's
So you got to find men that you trust in your inner circle to let it out. We aren't robots. That
fact.
hurt me. That bothered me. She cheated. I loved her. Like that bothered me. My dad wasn't here. He didn't come around until, that
Yeah,
hurt me. That bothers me. But I think we're shunned upon because we have emotions and we're vulnerable. Oh, you weak. Oh, you a crybaby. Oh,
right.
and it's like I blame society though. I blame society. It's a lot of things working behind the scenes, especially to like demasculinize black men in general, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. In the home too. Yes, society, but like, don't cry, man up. Like
Yeah,
those things, those little things, they build these walls and these barriers that you think even in an adult age, it's like coming to the forefront of your mind. Like, what
right.
am I crying for? That's not what men do. Men don't cry. Like, I'm
But
sorry.
then what I've noticed as well, like talking to my pops, he had trauma too. Like he never had a therapist. He never had a father to
Hmm.
speak to him. He's 65 years old now.
Yeah,
So you have children and they are expecting you to operate in a certain way or,
yeah,
show different sides to who you are, but he was hurt all along. His
yeah,
own himself. So
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like parents are they're your parents, but they're very much so human. They're having this first experience too. So like extending
absolutely.
that grace because they don't even have the tools that you have now, that we have now, right? We have access to so much information and things. So
Yeah.
I love where this conversation went. Let's go towards the ninth question. Let's talk about choosing the right partner. I think that's everybody's desire to have someone by their side who is just the right person for them. Their person who understands them, who sees them. How do we ensure we're aligning with someone who fits the vision that God has for us? Because ultimately, finding the right person is God's vision. That's God's vision for us.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I would just say, and I'm not speaking from a place of perfection or I got it all together or I met every woman I've dated, it went well. I don't want anybody to take it like that.
Yeah.
But when we talk about God, I believe that a strong relationship built on faith is not just based on attraction
Mm,
and perfection.
yeah.
So you will have to really get to know that person's character, like you said, being friends, being in a friendship,
Yeah.
and not who she is when she's with you, but who she is when she isn't with you. You like who is she with her friends? Who is she by herself? You
Yeah.
know, and just finding someone willing to grow with you in faith and purpose in your
Yeah.
belief system.
Yeah. So alignment is important in sharing same beliefs. Not in everything,
Absolutely.
but in I think in God and what he says in his word is important for sure.
Not
I love that.
chemistry, you know.
I love that. Okay. We get into the end of the road. This question here, if you could give one piece of advice to the next generation. I'm actually going to pose another question to you after this, but if you could give one piece of advice to one piece of wisdom to the next generation, what would it be?
I would just tell them that true success is measured by what remains when you're gone, and uh, a good name is to be cherished over silver and gold. So when you talk about legacy and when the shoes are gone, when the Gucci is gone, when the Gucci belt, and you can't
The
go out
Gucci.
of the country anymore, and you can't have all these multiple women, and all of that stuff fades. But when you're gone, you want to leave something in the earth that lets someone know that, hey, this woman changed my life. She said she had a beautiful smile, and that just brightened up my day. Something more, I would say, like build something that outlives you.
Yeah, it's not tangible, but it's like a, you know what I mean? Like a good story. Everybody loves a good story.
Over temporary, you know,
What you said?
distractions, over temporary distractions. Build something that outlives you. I feel like that's what true success is.
Yeah,
Measured by, what you leave when you're gone.
yeah. What advice would you give to your younger self that you know now that you wish you knew when you were younger?
I would tell myself that it's okay. Like you good. You're gonna be all right. Like it's okay to want your father or to miss your father. It's cool. It's natural, you know,
Yeah,
and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. God's got you.
that's good. That's good. Okay, y'all. This was amazing. Kevin don't know I'm gonna do this, but top 3 songs that you listened to this week. You gotta go to your playlist on iTunes, Apple, Spotify, whatever you listen to. I know he loves music, so we're just gonna get into it real quick before we close out. Let's see what he was listening to the most this week, if anything. Or if it's not the most songs you listened to this week, what you just listened to today. I know you was in the gym today, so you could tell them what was on the what was on the playlist.
Chance the Rapper. Uh,
Mm,
the song is called Favorite Song.
favorite
Uh, I,
song.
yeah, and I've been listening to Drake's new album as well. So that's been in rotation.
Okay.
What about you?
Top 3. Okay, I had a throwback session. I had listened to Chris Brown, his first album, love it, brought so back so many memories, and I've been listening to that literally almost every day since I was listening to it with you earlier this week. And Nina Sky, I feel like Nina Sky. I used to love Nina Sky. I think
Her
too because
voice
I
is
was.
beautiful.
Say it again.
I say her voice is beautiful, smooth. Like
Yes, yes, yes. So I was just tapped into that. I've been tapped into that, and I love a good gospel Jesus jam. So I've been listening to like Marvin Sapp, Never Would Have Made It, all those songs that really just hit my soul.
mm,
Okay. You guys, please, if you guys have questions in the chat before we end, tell us what songs you guys have been listening to. Um, I'm excited. I think my favorite part of Keishuary, honestly, was probably this conversation. Reason being is because
really, I'm nervous.
what y'all tell Kevin he don't gotta be nervous. He's a natural. I'm telling you, he's a natural. He definitely was nervous today, but it's okay. He did great. There's no reason to be nervous. Mikasa Sukasa, right? This is my YouTube family, and everybody on here is so supportive. And I think that afterwards, you're definitely gonna pat yourself on the back for just getting it done. And just saying your piece. I definitely hope that you guys tune in, watch it. If you're watching the replay, make sure you subscribe. Um, yeah, they said you did good in the chat. They say you did good. You did good. That's my sister telling us you did good. He did amazing, and I'm so grateful for your perspective. I feel like there's not a lot of platforms where you have men like talking and sharing about themselves or their experiences or even how they think or what they think. And if you do, it's from sometimes a hurt place
Right.
or a little toxic place, or you know what I mean? It's misguided. And I think you were
And the
just
world is so critical.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
People are crazy. I will. Yes, the world is definitely. So I'm just glad you were able to come and just be a part of the safe space, and I hope that you come back.
Thanks for having me. Happy Keishuary.
Yeah. We're ending on a good note. We're toasting. Let's do a toast to.
Listen to.
Yes, we're toast. I don't know. You a man of many words. Oh,
Am I? Last day of Keishuary.
yes.
Black History Month.
Let's do it. Clink clink.
Yeah, we're closing out.
Yes. I got my straw. Ain't nothing left in this. Okay, I'm gonna finish up. But you guys, thank you so much for joining. We will be back. Regular schedule program, just regular YouTube vlogs, y'all. I don't know when I'll come back on the stream, but we'll definitely bring back Kevin because he did such a great job. You guys have the most amazing night. I will see you guys soon.
Oh,
Bye.
later.
Okay, we now I'm ending.